Hello everybody, welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I want to take a little bit of your time. I want to talk about Phase 1, Block 2, Module 1. And what I want to talk about, I have a little bit of notes here, is I want to talk about my personal space. Now, Module 1 is about finding your space in the woods or available land where you can set up your camp. Remember the resources that are needed for drinking water, food, fire, etc. And exercise number 1, draw a map of your personal space to include all terrain features including hills, mountains, fields, streams, prevailing winds, ponds, trails, etc. And it says include the 4 cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west. Now the deliverable for this is a photocopy of the map. However, I'm going to be doing a video copy of my map. Okay folks, here's a look at my map. Right now you can see there's a road right here. This is the main road. If you go north, you can see north is this way. Here's my compass. North on this road, this is Highway 99. North goes to Winslow, Arizona, which is my hometown. Now this is milepost 25, milepost 24, 21, 18, 17, etc. Now at milepost 25, this is when you start entering into the woods, into where you can start seeing trees and stuff. It's not so flat, not so deserty. And the kind of tree resources that I noticed over there were a lot of juniper trees. And I see this on the way when I'm driving in. Now right here, around milepost 24, this is where you enter the Sitgraves National Forest. Now approximately milepost 21, that's where the cedar groves start. And then right here at 18 3/4, there's a little road. I don't know, it's just a dirt road, and it goes off to the west. And this road, there's some water there. There's a good water source there. Now, from my personal space, this is only less than a mile away. Now, on these little lines right here that you see me dotting around, these are elk activity that I see in this area. Some of it actually goes right through my personal space. I see a lot of elk tracks and droppings and things like that there. Now when I get to here, you can see this line that goes all the way across my map. This is the top, this is the crest of a hill, because a lot of this territory is undulating. It's not any major mountains or anything like that. There's no lakes or rivers or anything like that. There is, however, if you go north a little further, a few more miles, there's the Clear Creek, which is plenty of water, but that's, again, from this location, it's probably 15 miles. So it'd be, but this is the closest water to where my personal space is, which is this block right here. So I basically get off at milepost 18. This is, again, this is Highway 99. I get off at milepost 18 and I go east, and there's a little dirt road. It's kind of hard to see. And then there's a split in the road. There's a tree right in the middle. That's what that dot represents, is the tree. Right here in this split is where I like to park my car, and it's not very far from the road, maybe 200-300 meters, maybe 400. Yeah, it's probably about 400 meters. Now right here you can see the rocks. This is the rocks that I was at when I did my 10 C's in Block 1. That's where I shot that video right there. The road was just right behind it. I don't know if you could tell in those videos or not, but the road was maybe, from those rocks, maybe 100 or 200 meters from here. Now when I park my car, if I walk mostly eastward but a little bit north, you see my compass here, little mild bit to the north but mostly east. In fact, if you go due east from here, you can still run into my personal space. This is where my shelter is. This is the location that I'm at right now, and this walk is about 200 meters. Now I know that these distance here versus this distance from the rocks to the road aren't very accurate on this map, but I do know that from the rocks it's about 200-300 meters to the road. So I know this doesn't really justify on the map, but I'll probably make a new map eventually or update this one. But this is the start to my Block 2 personal space, Module 1. Again, this is my map. This is my personal space. I chose this area because the winds seem to come from the east on this side. They kind of come westwardly. It's kind of weird. Normally in Arizona the winds come from the west and they blow eastward, but I don't know if it's because of this top of this ridge or what, but the wind kind of comes from the east. So if you look at my shelter that I'm sitting in right now is kind of sitting kind of like this. Here's my shelter. So there's a tree here, there's a tree here, and I have my ridge line. I have a lean-to shelter set up right there. So it's a pretty cool little area. And the shelter, the lean-to side is on the east side, so the wind kind of just blows up and over my shelter. Works pretty good. But this is my map. I'm not a really good artist or anything like that, but this is enough for me to understand exactly where I need to go. Now, again, from my personal space to this water, that's less than a mile. You know, I have on my compass, I have some ranger beads, pace counting beads, and I could use those. One of these days I'm going to actually track that, and I'm going to go over there and find out exactly what that distance is on foot. So until then, we're just going to assume that that's about a mile. And that's simply from driving in, because it's 3/4 of a mile from that road to this road. It's not very far. So again, thanks for watching. This is my module 1 of block 2, exercise number 1. I need to sit for 1 hour and observe my surroundings, and I need to log this experience. So in the background behind you, I don't know if you can see, obviously you probably can't, but I have my GoPro and I'm going to be shooting a time lapse of me sitting here just to cut in onto this video. And then again, it says photocopy my log pages for this experience. So I'll be doing that via video, and I'll also log it in. 60 minutes. Start. There we go. So I'm going to shut you off, and I'll be here observing. I'll be quiet, and I'm going to be checking out my personal space. Looking at everything in the area, listening to the sounds, things of that nature. I just finished my 1 hour observation in the quiet, and man, that was interesting. I heard a lot of things, and I wrote down a lot of stuff in my book. I wrote down almost 4 pages of things. So here in a minute, I'll read this stuff to you if you want to hear it. It's kind of funny, and there's a lot of random stuff that I wrote down, so I'm gonna go ahead and read that to you now just to share it with you. It's kind of funny. Okay, so this is block 2, module 1, exercise number 2. Okay, as it starts, it says, "I can hear a crow to the south of me and many small birds to the north. I'm facing the west, watching the sun go down. My little black dog is busy to the southwest of me digging. I think he found a squirrel and pinned him underneath a fallen tree. Directly to the west, I see two birds flying southward as I hear an airplane way off in the distance. Both of my dogs left to go dig after my little black one came to get my brown one. I like my shelter. It seems solid and does a great job blocking the westbound winds that come from behind me. I'm looking to the tree to my right and I found some pine sap right here. In the distance to the west, I hear a branch break. A small branch, not too loud, but underneath my shelter I see some elk droppings. These ones look old and dry." So here's one. "I break one and I think that this would make some good material for fire. It reminds me a lot of a bow drill dust." Okay, page 2. "I'm thinking about making a solid shelter here in the future, something that will last much longer than a ridge line and a lean-to tarp configuration. The sun is starting to go down in the distance. I really like it here. On the ground I see some rabbit activity too. There's some droppings here. There's a lot of piñons here." Pine nuts, right? There's a lot of piñons here. "But most of them are dry and don't have any meat inside. Both my dogs are now relaxing with me and taking a nap. As the sun goes down in front of me to the west, I feel the temperature dropping. Birds are singing at least 3 different songs, 3 different types of birds. As it's cooling down, I'm thinking of making a fire when I'm finished with this exercise. Looking around, I see many natural tinders that are readily available to collect. There are tons of fire resources here. Lots of down and dead wood, plenty of grasses to use to start the fire, pine sap, etc." Page 3. "I just heard a car go by on the road heading southbound. I think it's approximately 500 to 600 meters to the road. And once again, he was heading south. I'm starting to notice that the birds stopped singing or slowed down at this point. My dogs got up and are out exploring again, sniffing for that squirrel. Good thing is that we come out so much that they're very well trained, very well behaved dogs. They didn't run off. They hardly ever go more than 50 or 100 meters from where I'm at. It's cold right now. They must have seen something because they're excited, tails wagging. They don't hardly ever bark. They're not barking now either. I haven't seen any ants or bugs or anything out here. Maybe they'll come out in the spring or summer. Temperature's dropping again. I can feel heat loss through conduction. My butt is sitting on the cold ground. My brown dog just caught something over there. I think it's a lizard, because when she caught it, she kind of shook her mouth. The birds are silent now. It's very quiet outside. As I look to the west and I sit here," page 4 here, "I'm noticing the tree line, the pattern, almost as if I'm memorizing it. You know, all these trees. It's kind of neat. I haven't seen any game or animal movement other than what my dogs were after. Again, I think it was a squirrel or a lizard. I hear a different kind of bird in the distance now to the north. Sounds like he's screaming. Not loud, but what a funny sounding bird he is. I didn't hear him before. I see a perfect place for a fire pit. There's plenty of rocks around here too. I'm noticing that the ground that I'm sitting on slopes very slightly to the east underneath my shelter. There's a few rocks that will need to be removed as well. I'll use these rocks for my fire pit. That way I won't have to go very far. It's getting colder again." So that's where I finished, and my 1 hour was up. So folks, this concludes Block 2, Module 1, exercise number 2. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Block 2, Module 2. We'll be making camp. Let's get these babies on. This little stuff. I thought about a fire a lot when I was doing that 1 hour exercise. I noticed it got cold. Looks like we're pretty sustainable now, at least for a start. Got the hard part out of the way. Oh, that feels so good on the hands. It really cooled down quite a bit out here once that sun went down. Thank goodness for fire.